Hello everyone, my name is Luke. This video is going to be Project 2, which is the hacking demonstration video for CMIT 386. In the scenario for this video, I'm a red team member for Haverbrook Security Labs, and I'm performing a penetration test for their client, Hotel Dorsey. So we're going to go through a look at the target system, which is going to be Hotel Dorsey's Linux machine. We're going to be looking at some of the services and a vulnerability that we're going to be exploiting, the purpose of the exploit, as well as the exploitation steps, such as using Metasploit, MSF-Venom, Interpreter, and the findings, such as Etsy Shadow, which we will crack the hash of with John the Ripper, do some data exfiltration, and briefly cover some post-exploitation techniques, and then we'll give a summary at the end. So if we take a look here, we are running on the Kali machine at 10.5.5.50, and the target machine, which is Hotel Dorsey's machine, is located at 10.5.5.100. This Nmap scan shows some of the ports and protocols that are open. The one we're going to cover specifically is port 21, which is running the FTP service. The version is a vsftpd 2.3.4, which is the very secure file transfer protocol daemon. If we take a look at the OpenVAS vulnerability scan that we performed for Hotel Dorsey, we can see that there are actually some vulnerabilities on this port. So we see that there's a compromised source package backdoor vulnerability on both port 21 and 6200. The reasoning for both of these ports is that we actually, with this exploit, send a sequence of specific bytes on port 21, which results in opening a backdoor on port 6200. So if we take a look over here on the vulnerability scan, we can see that this is for version 2.3.4, which was only available for a few days when it was found a vulnerability on. But some services, such as Hotel Dorsey's Linux system, still run this vulnerable version. So now let's get into exploiting this vulnerability. The purpose of the exploit is going to be to create a shell that we can use to have root access and basically go from there, do whatever we want. So we're going to use Metasploit. We're going to actually search for vsftpd. See, there is an exploit here, so we're going to highlight this and go use and then paste it. We do a show options to see what we need to provide to Metasploit. Show options. We just need to provide the target, which is the rhost. So if we do a set rhost, the target is Metasploit machine, which is on 10.5.5.100. And now if we run or exploit, see that it is going to start the shell. It found the shell, and the shell session has started. So we do an ID. We see that we are root, and we're in the root directory. I'm going to go further and create a Interpreter shell. These steps were provided in the Mastering Metasploit 2nd Edition book by Nipunj as well. So if you have access to that book, you could follow along. Otherwise, you can just follow these steps. So in order to get the Interpreter shell, we're actually going to upload a backdoor onto this system. So to create the backdoor, we're going to use the following command. There we go. I already have it in history to avoid some typing errors. So we're going to be using MSF-Venom. TAC P is for payload, which is going to be the Interpreter reverse shell. We set the L host to be our Kali machine, L port to be 4444. TAC F is the output type, which is going to be the executable and linkable format. And the backdoor is going to be called backdoor.elf. So in order to get this onto the target machine, we're going to be using an Apache web server. So we're going to actually move backdoor into var www html. Now we're going to go back to our shell and we're going to actually pull it down. So wget Kali's IP backdoor.elf. There we go. We pulled it down. We're going to do a chmod 777 to give it full permissions. Now we're going to go into another Metasploit console. I already have typed this out to save us some time. So we're going to be using the exploit multi-handler. We set the payload to be the reverse TCP shell, set the L host to be Kali, L port to be 4444, and now we're just going to run. As you can see, it starts the handler. So now we're going to go back into the original shell, and we're going to activate the backdoor. We go back to Metasploit. You see, my interpreter session is open. We'll give it a second. There we go. Now we do an ls. We can now go into the, actually, let's first off by catting the etc shadow file, which is also found in this red team look here folder as well. So I have cracked all these hashes previously. I will show you guys that, but first I'm just going to demonstrate with just a single one to save us time. So we're going to be using John the Ripper, which is a password hash cracking tool. So we'll do, first we need to make the file, so gedit, and we'll just call it pass.txt. We're going to paste our hash here and save it. We're going to be doing John of pass.txt. It's going to run, it cracked the hash. Now we're going to do a show command, tac show. There we go, red team 5 student 5 is the username, password is 5e. Now if we do the same command for this other file that I have, hash.txt, you can see here it's all the passwords, especially for the root account, the MSF admin account, etc. So now let's go back to our interpreter shell, do another ls, and we can see that we're going to cd into the red team 5 folder. From here we see that we have the different students, so I'm going to be cding into student 5. And I can go and cat out the mypass file that is here. I'll do a list so you guys can see. There it is. But we're going to actually go through and exfiltrate some data just to show how vulnerable Hotel Dorsey's system is. So we're going to go back up, and we're going to be doing the download command of the student 5 folder. Downloaded it. We go back to our local machine. We do ls. We can see the student 5 directory is here. We can go and cd student 5, do ls. We can see the mypass is here, which we can cat out. And we have successfully exfiltrated some data. So now for some post-exploitation, we could do many different things, such as removing all traces of us being here. We could add more backdoors. There's a variety of different things that we could do. But overall, this is just one example of Hotel Dorsey's vulnerabilities. So I do recommend that them hire some more IT staff to solve some of these vulnerabilities, as well as get a full, more in-depth vulnerability exploitation penetration test going. So in summary, went over the target system, the vulnerability, which is vsftpd, purpose, which was to create a shell, the exploitation steps, we used Metasploit, MSF Venom, and an interpreter shell. And our findings, we found the password hashes, which we cracked John the Ripper, we exfiltrated a folder, and we briefly covered some post-exploitation. Thank you for watching.